Hey, good morning. It's Robert. A lot of earnings overnight. Hope everybody's good. I didn't scan much other than earnings. I'm just taking a quick look here. So I noticed a couple I didn't have. If you got anything great, please throw it out so I can put that DNLI. I saw this earlier. Hey, Powerman. Good morning, Todd. Hey, Ralph. Robert, Sean. Should be able to see my list here. It's big. There's just a few good ones though, so it shouldn't be too hard to go through. Spike up and down, but not much. Like a quarter. So I mean, I've been looking for pullback day, a few days now. Yet we keep pushing or inching higher. I keep thinking we're going to pull back to that rising 20. Morning, John. Oh, you got a list. Good. Let me just make sure I have your top watches here. INFN. I think I got that. Yep. I didn't have Arlo. Hubs VSTO. I don't have that either. And NTRA. Got that. And NOMD. I don't think I saw that. Alright, so I added John's favorites anyway onto my list, and then Downs, OSUR, Sono, and ADT. Alright. Lot of earnings to look at this morning. I think about 300 on my list. M-Chip, yeah, I put that back on a list, Sean. I think you're right. We could see some additional drop here, particularly if the market would participate. So SPY down to 331. So maybe 70 cents on the SPY, 20 cents on the Qs. So basically, looks like a flat open if we hold here. We were down a little this morning. I think there was an employment number. I don't know what it was though. But yeah, right about 8 o'clock, there was some volatility. All right, I'm gonna go through the list, make a yellow list. I'm gonna be choosy about where I put on because there's lots and lots of mediocre, nothing hard to figure, at least in my opinion, type gaps. There's a couple of good ones, and I'd like to, at least for the first 20 minutes, focus. Slightly better than expected. All right. All right, so Apple just no earnings, no gap per se, but somebody posted that hourly, and they're right. The here, let me make my gray chart an hourly here. You can see that is a nice looking hourly. Looks like it's ready to pop. APPS is earnings, but 4 days up. Well, and a $4 gap. So maybe a fade on this guy, right to $20. Let's see if I have room to watch it. Our low, pullback day yesterday, now gapping over the red bar. And that's decent volume. All right, I'll put that on a list. Is this earning? Does anybody know? I don't think I had it on my list. Yeah, it's not there. BHC. This is a pretty clean breakout here, and all the way back to the 200 MA. So I'm not sure that has enough room to fade. It's about a 20%, a 10% gap. That's a tough call. I'm gonna skip that. BMY doesn't look like much, but I like BMY. It is right in front of the prior high is the only issue, but this is a nice little turnaround, new little uptrend. I'm gonna watch BMY. COLL 1890 on the bid. Well, puts it in a good place. Over these two little topping tails, barely. Big spread though, 50, 60 cents. It's a pharma. I'm gonna leave it alone. I like it though. COMM also gapping up into the 200 MA. I'm gonna leave that off too. CTL. This is just like the BMY. It looks like it's not much, but we had one of these the other day, which worked out very well too. But this has room to climb. 61,000 shares. Yeah, I'm going to watch CTL. INO from Evan. INO. What's up with INO? Is that buying that farmer or something? Oh, wrong window. Okay. All right, DCP. 1440. Oh, it looks like everything else. Gapping up into a 200 MA. DNLI. This is a nice gap. Over the entire base. I don't think I've ever heard of this, but it's on the list. FISV, not really enough gap. FLIR, Same as everything else, gapping into a flat 200 MA. GDDY, this could be the fade. Gapping right to prior highs. GMed to 54, so gapping pretty good, but into supply, and it's a big spread. HUBS, this is $20 over the prior high. So it looks like all-time highs here on HUBS. It's either way. And INFN just barely clearing new highs. Was up to 907 earlier though. All right, IMR, again, just clearing the prior high, right at the 200 MA again. Jack's too spready. MARX, new highs 5-6 days up. $44,000 shares, quarter on the spread. I don't know, that could move. It's clear higher. I don't know what it is. I don't think I've ever played it. And nice. Another one gapping $20 over the prior high. This one's thin though. I think there used to be a 70s band too. I'm gonna skip that. NOMD. NOMD gapping to a new high. I'll watch that. NTRA, $4 gap. This one's reasonably clean. Just a little bit big. So I'm filling my list up here. This is what I didn't want to do, was fill it up with stuff I'm not really that interested in. New skin right to the prior high. I do like playing in US though, but I gotta skip it for now. It's likely a fade. Yeah, yes, there's a few golds and silvers jumping up today. This is one of them. I'm just gonna leave it on my list. Pen, probably not enough gap. PH. PH is like the BMY and the other thing where it's gapping over a near-term base, but not quite over the prior high. I'll leave that one off. RCII. Come back to this one later. It's really bullish. TRMB. This doesn't do any volume. It's pretty breakout though. And VIAC 2685. It's just barely gapping enough. Again, it's got the 200 MA there. Well, at least it's something I know. VSTO, just Just another jumper. $3 over. I'm just not going to watch all of these. And YETA. Again, 5 days up and a $3 gap. Hard to play that one. Zynga have to watch. Zynga's pretty good. Doesn't always work so good, but it looks pretty good. And ZTS, yet another 5 day up, gap up. All right, that's enough. There's a lot of mediocre stuff here. Um, it's hard to pick a favorite long for me. And there's 4 or 5 of them I'm not really watching. I do like GDDY to fade though. All right, let's look at downs. ADT, nice hold for you guys swinging it. You got a good drop today on the earnings. I'm gonna watch it because I still like it to 10. Blue Apron, I don't think this reported, and it's just gapping to some demand. BHC below, yeah, but it's almost there. At least on my chart. I like it to fade, the BHC. I just like GoDaddy more. And then BDX to 265, the dollar spread. It's either way and looks hard. CTVA, this is the inverse of all the gap ups. It's a gap down right in front of the 200 MA. And a little thin. CNVA, not really bearish. CWH is the same. Trip D, yeah, Trip D is pretty good. In fact, it's really good. 584 and 520 could be a good target there. ETSY, you know, nothing really. FSLY to 90. Here's a gap right to the buy point. If it can trade up, it's probably a fade. So far, though, it hasn't. Looks like it'll do enough volume. Put on the list. I got 6 minutes. INSG, $13. Just not that interesting. M chip, I'm not going to look at it the open, but could follow that lower. That really looks like it does have a date with the 200. And MetLife gapping under the pivot. This is decent. OSUR, I'm not used to this being liquid. I haven't played it in several years. Um, it's a tough call here, though. It's either way. It's a big gap. PZZA, another one not really breaking yesterday's bar, and even if it does, it's still bullish. Roku to 159, right to minor support. Has some room lower. I'm going to watch Roku, but I don't really have an opening play for it. And I kind of like Sono. Sono almost to a new high and now breaking the pivot on the gap. SPWR at 4 minutes. Not really gapping. And WDC is the other pretty good one. Yeah, 39.30. Yeah, it may encounter demand in the 37s, but I like WDC lower. WIX is a huge gap, but still in demand. And ZIXI, just another gap down to a demand area. All right, I'm going with these. And I like the downs better. I like WDC, Sono, Slight, and Met, and Trip T. Better than any of these longs. I do like GoDaddy to fade. And maybe Zynga long. Farman's watching T-Doc. Nice gap up there. And healthcares are bullish. Only problem with the PGs. Yeah, well, I think it's the market, Evan. I mean, the market won't drop. It looks like it's gonna, and then it doesn't, and then it repeats. So hard for shorts. I don't think I've ever seen so many mediocre gaps on such. This is the biggest earnings overnight, I think, of the season, the third Thursday, and there's nothing I'm really jumping up and down about. ADTX, I don't think I have that. ADTX, yeah, I don't get that. Okay, let's go to work. I definitely like WDC. Just not sure. It only has $1 to a front target. And I like Sono a lot. John's got WDC. I'm going to do Sono. I'm getting a little out of Sono here at $15. Sorry, I didn't get to post it. Okay, I'm out a little. And I'm going to get a little more out as soon as it upticks. Okay, I'm about half size in the Sono now. And I'll let it go now. That was a nice, quick little drop on a tight little entry. And the bigger could redo it on a sell setup. And the target's really 1460 or even 14, but I'm just gonna hang on now and look to add on a some kind of buy setup. Thanks, Farman. Yeah, that was a nice, quick little start there. Sorry I couldn't get it posted. I did say I liked it a lot. Hopefully somebody picked up on it. WDC looking pretty good too. And DDD also looks good for a sell setup. Okay, I'm gonna give Sono a pivot. So far, stop is still high a day. And OSUR also looking lower. It just jumped 30 cents. Well, it's lower. T-Doc. Yeah, T-Doc is climbing. Nice call. CCL. Yeah, CCL looks lower today. Oh, good job. You got the OSUR done. I didn't even see that. And, huh. Now there's a breakdown play on WDC with a 60-cent stop. I know John's already doing it. Problem is we're right in front of the prior pivot. Okay, BMY. See? Doesn't look like much, but it's got some wings. Pullbacks on BMY I like long. What was the fade I liked? Oh, GoDaddy. Okay, if I get an entry, we're right on the low a day. We just actually, well, 82.90 is low a day. So I still like GDDY as a fade. It's a little late for an initial entry though, so it needs a way in. Roku falling nicely. Met not. Seen a lot of red in the market. NDRA could be a long. 30-cent spread though. Not bad. Wow, INFN. That worked. All you had to do was buy the 1 minute high. Hubs probably fades, but it's a big spread. Okay, GGGY just broke the low a day. So if it can rally back and pivot, I like it short. DNLI is higher too. Just triggered a long. Hmm. BMY I'd really like to get. It's not really producing entries. MA? Yeah. Oh wait, that's MAX. Yeah, MA too. Very strong. All right, I'm gonna trail Sono to just above the VWAP here. It's not the best pivot, but wouldn't want to let it to trade back to high a day now when there's a pivot at 1510. I don't have a post on it, didn't get it in time, but 1513 or so is the trail now. Still looks good lower, but if it can come back over the VWAP, I'd like to be out. Market's showing a little weakness here. Can't climb. Tried to, right there at 933. Q's went high a day, immediately got sold. And same thing with the SPY. So far, I mean, I'm tiptoeing, but so far, market a little weaker than the last few days. Sean's got M chip. Yeah, right off the highs here, off the slight lower high. Yeah, could do that. All right, one more scan through my yellow list. I really like WDC. It's just the prior lows here could hold it for a while. 3765, it's right in front of it. If it gets through that and sets up, in fact, it's a double bottom at 3760. But if it gets through that, could be 30. STX also down today again. Met finally weakening. How does OY decent? Daily area is hard. And DDD wants to fade. Now, this isn't one that I like to fade because it's right into minor resistance, but seems like it wants to Zynga through the low, but held minor support. Viacom, if it had any room, just doesn't have any room. NTRA is higher. Good place for a long. Market trying to pivot. INFN, wow. Could do INFN 903 by 876. This is clear. It's a breakout play. But it is not too far gone. Strongest thing I see, well, it's on my chart list anyway. I'm going to do INFN over 903 with a 30-cent stop. Should trigger right here. Now, will it hold the stop is the question. I think low a day would be better, but it's a much bigger. The VWAP's right there at 870. All right, and Sono trailed. Oh, did Sono trail? Yeah, it must have trailed. Still had a Sono order in. Yeah, it trailed. All right, WDC is still looking good. Yeah, Ringet's watching it. It's a good place, right as it attacks the VWAP. Sono, if you stayed in, could use 30 now as the trail. And INFM not going to work. Well, it's going to test the stop. I'm not sure it's not going to work, but and my miss is the GGDY right there. 64 by 76, or no, 49 by 64. That rally right into the VWAP, that's what I was saying I wanted after it broke the low, was a rally back to the VWAP, and I totally didn't see it. And there it is working nicely. So hopefully somebody picked up on that. If oh, Viacom going higher. That's what I thought INFN would do. You missed Met? Yeah, Met had a nice entry right there. I didn't like that it rallied first, but you know, it went right into resistance, so it wasn't really a problem. Yeah, WDC is into that little demand area right now. But like I say, if it gets through that and sets up again, I'll be in it too. Because, right, the target is down at 2028. I hate high a day plays. This IFNFN is why, because they trigger and then they shake you out. Yep. Got the trigger though. OSUR looking good lower. And FSLI working lower. DDD, like I said, looked like it might fade. Just a tough fade. And could re-enter Sono. I still like this a lot lower. Oh look, see if you badmouth them, they hold. INFN holds right there at the... Well, I guess that's what's supposed to happen. That's why you have a stop. BMY. Yeah, I still like BMY. And BHC, did it fade? Yeah, it faded. It did get above the 200 and then it fell apart. The easy one though was GoDaddy. That that was just a textbook fade. Wish I was in that. All right, INFN, was a better entry as it tested the stop, kind of like over here, but I'm gonna stick with it now. It either stops or it doesn't. Looked like it was gonna stop. OSUR is not gonna fall again. So if you like it, you could fade it. Q's trying to make a turn. Is that yesterday's low? 270.19. Yeah, just in front of yesterday's low. So, you know, we have a bit of a weak intraday, but nothing on the big time frames weak. Like, see the hourly here? Right at the rising 20 MA, and we just tested it. And the SPY is not even close. I mean, the SPY still has a lot of room to pull down to the 20 MA, but again, just got to yesterday's low and held. WDC very nice. Met may set up again. Max R. Nice little buy setup there. It's too novice of a gap for me to want to buy the pullback here, but if not for that, Max R right in here is very nice. Okay, I'm gonna look through my whole list. HD? You doing HD? Yeah, it's bullish though, isn't it? All right, WDC's through all the prior lows now. So as long as we don't get big volume here, just a little sell setup, I think is still shortable, for a big target now. I didn't quite have the foresight for that earlier, but I did the Sono instead. so no complaints. There's CTL trying to push higher. CTL decent right now, over 28 by 10. I just don't want another long yet. But CTL's decent. It's as good as anything else I see anyway. Better than most. Yeah, hub's faded too. All right, INFN, let's go. Tested the stop. Looks like it wants $10. You want $10, don't you? I'm sorry I said those bad things. No, I'm not. That's what works. Back to you, Dow. Oh yeah, that's bullish. Yeah, here's the market popping. All right, so low day held. We're still, we had a little bearish look, but never broke anything. I keep watching your T-Doc, Farman. See if it sets up an entry. Wow. GoDaddy can flash. This thing's still lower if you want to give it a $3 stop. And BMY a little bit of a big pullback for me. I like them to hold low a day. CTL is the best looking long I see at the moment. Well, INFM isn't bad either, but it was better, at 80 by 68. Oh, and Maxar, look, that thing worked. I mentioned this. I was a little late. Like I saw it after the first green bar, but oh, this was the novice one I didn't want to do. All right, DDD did set up. This is the problem when they try and fade into resistance like that. The resistance resists. PayPal? Yeah, it does. How did the M chip do? Oh, it dropped and now set up again. Huh. Okay, gonna move that over here. You see, part of my problem, I never gave WDC a chart. Hmm. Still not in that, hard to believe. And Sono just tested the pivot. So I still like that, but, and you know, the market just hit the high a day, so the WDC would be a breakdown. M-chip is decent, but I really had enough of that yesterday. No, I don't want to jump in M-chip. It looks good though. Wouldn't argue that. If I jump in anything, it's Sono at the moment on a breakdown, but I don't think it has enough risk reward at this point. I should be in WDC, but I didn't want to go early. BMY, of course it's a long, but BMY making the pivot now. And DDD gonna get the new low. Well, you know, yesterday's yesterday. Can't argue though, looks great. I'm gonna look through my whole short list. Wow, the IXI keeps dropping. BDX is lower. Now the top of the list. Spready. Well, not that spready. About a quarter, maybe a little more. I like BDX. It's the third 15-minute bar, but it's got room to 254. Hadn't been watching it, but that's really bearish. And now the spread opens to 50 cents, though. So it's spready. I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm not gonna do that. W? Yeah, agree. W way up there. Yeah, overstock already coming in. All right, and I am I'm not going to go quite to break even. Well, I want to see this pullback, but I don't want it. I don't want INFN getting below the VWAP, which is at about 887 right now. So I'm not going to quite give it a full stop anymore. It made a nice new high, so as long as it can pull back and make a pivot, it's still fine. Love the gap. And CTL worked. Got the new high. It's target one if you did it. All right, things slowing down. Oh, Sono made the nice drop. Got the big punch. And WDC just basing at the low now. I'd love to see this try and rally and then reverse. That would get me in this. And M chip still looks tricky. Sono just hit the target. He held on. I hear Google and Amazon keep stealing their patents, and there's just nothing they can do about it. Like they can't afford to sue monsters. BA. Yeah, getting the breakout. Into some supply though, but nice hourly. Oh, how'd Apple do, speaking of hourlies? Yeah, it's got the breakout. Apple's along, still. Yeah, I think Ralph had it. Or maybe it was you, Parman, but it was one of you had the Apple heads up. I got it on my list, but I never looked at it. Beautiful breakout. Hourly, anyway. But yeah, there. Yeah, UDOW too, getting a pretty good hourly breakout. All right, well, I might be on the wrong thing, but I'm trying to play the strong gap, seeing if the higher low can set. And would have done CTL if I wasn't in the INFN already. That would have been the next play. All right, I still like, most of your NWDC or were in. I like it on a sell setup. If that happens, I would get in. Still got a big target. Market bullish though, so be careful. Shorts could be a problem again. Just taking one last look before I get out on a break. And CTL really did work. That's the old unassumer, it doesn't look like much, but it's got everything. Just nothing to excess. MA really bullish too. And so is this MAXR, believe it or not. And Penn, look at that. Hmm. Yeah, T-Doc looks like it could go too again. Pulled back, but now positioned. TRMB. I thought this was thin, but look at that. This is another beautiful breakout. Let's see, was there an entry on this? It wasn't easy. Right here. Yeah, Lily on the sell setup now daily. Yeah, UPS still on an hourly base though. Have to get through that. All right, INFM is trying to make the pivot at the VWAP. So I'm going to give it to about 890, but I don't want this thing to lose the uptrend with the market at high a day and, take the stop anymore. VWAP's right here at 893 or so. So I'm going to give it about 885. Which is almost a break even. But it's got to hold here. I'm going to let it go. Love the gap. So if we see a 15-minute pullback, that'd be great. Worth looking at. And it should hold right here. I mean, if it's as strong as it looks like, it should hold right here. Still looking for an entry on WTC. There have been several, but Camping World? Oh yeah, it's all set up right now. Daily chart's been my problem with that all day, but it's under the green bar and still a little room to demand. Nice all setup though. Beautiful 5. All right, I'm gonna walk away for a little bit. I'm not gonna go too far because I'm looking for entries still. But I'm basically gonna go to the 15-minute chart now. And I'll come back on and go through the list again in about 20 minutes. All right, thanks all. Hope you had a decent morning. Hey, it's Rob. I am back, and I'm going to jump back in INFN over 88, 88 by 70. Still like it. I, you know, got out of it just on a stop order when I walked away. But like what it's doing here. This is a 15-minute buy is 88 by 70. And could be in already. I mean, the 5 is already triggered. Market falling though, but right into the demand area. So chance we hold here. The other thing that looked good when I first went in is M chip now set up on the 15 pretty nicely. About 10 cents past the entry, but very, very nice 15 minute now on M chip. I'm still going to skip it, but I like it a lot better than before. I see Ralph mentioned INFM too. Hey, Sean, QCOM too. Big squeeze. Oh, I wanted to mention one thing. I think it was Todd yesterday. I just wanted to mention I saw a post about stats from some other room. Um, I never mind, mentioning this or that, but I'd appreciate not posting, material from other companies. I mean, if you want to PM it to somebody, I guess I don't mind as long as it's not soliciting. Um, but I can't vouch for what anybody else does, and so it's not a problem what happened yesterday. But I'd appreciate and I'm not actually positive who it was, nor does it matter. But just let's stay away from that. There's lots of companies out there that market lots of things. Some of them are legitimate, some of them aren't. And, you know, I actually worked for 4 of those companies in years gone by, and I saw a lot of statistics from a lot of people, but I'll tell you what, only one of them ever showed me a real P&L, from a broker statement. One. So I'm not doubting anything, but I just like to not even passively promote. Everybody's on their own. Yeah, no problem, Todd. I know it wasn't, meant as anything. That's why I'm, just soft-treading it. Just there's so much out there, and it's hard to, unless you have good inside direct experience, it's hard to say much, and that's why I kind of always leave that alone. WDC? Yeah, 37 by 37. Yeah, I could do it right now. Might want to wait for 91. Mark it on a low point though. I'd rather be long here. The INFM triggered, and high a day would offer a little bit of target there. So I'll look for a third at high a day. I still like this to $10. And OSUR is still falling as well. All right, it's late here on WDC, but I still like it. I'm gonna do it on a breakdown. I mean, could already be in the let's see the 15. Yeah, it's more of a base, but there's enough base now to play a breakdown. Yeah, under 90, right? I'll let 90 by 37.50 or so. Yeah, that's what I like is the big old void. Plug, yeah, that was on the list this morning, on the earnings list anyway. Yeah, plug decent. I just did the INFM though. That's fine for my long. It's already pretty profitable if you took the 5-minute entry. And guess I like M chip, but not gonna do it. I will do the WDC underneath 90. Basically, it's 90 by 40. And OSUR still a short. but way late. Let's see, VNA. Nothing wrong with it. It's a little extended, as they say. It's really been ripping. Oh, nothing wrong. To me, Ash, I mean, the way I play these, I didn't see an advantage with it because it actually gapped down a little bit. I probably said it's still bullish when it gapped down because usually when they just gap down an INSEE on earnings and the market's gapping down a little, that can be a long. But I had no idea it would run like this either. There wasn't any giveaway to me in the gap or the pre-market that it could have that kind of move. Unlike Sono, which was gapping not only under green but also right to the prior pivot and gave it up right before the open. So that's why I was hot on Sono first thing because it opened, it did enough volume, and it had that teeny first bar to play lower with a reasonably big target. So this to me was very seeable. Yeah, I mean that's what 95% of these stocks do is they just do whatever they do and then do something else. I mean, if you could have picked up an intraday trend, you got it. I mean, the CVNA did act bullish right from the open. But again, I don't personally, I just don't have a method to predict that. And everybody's different here. This is why everybody learns how to do it themselves that's successful anyway. WDC was also pretty predictable. And the reason I didn't jump right into that, even though it worked great, was these prior lows. We had 37.65 and uh, and 37.69 pretty close by. Now it got through, which is why I'm willing to play it for the bigger target now. But there's nothing wrong with WDC other than I thought it was target limited because of the multiple demand points in that 3750 area. To me, very, very seeable what's going to happen there. I mean, Arlo was kind of readable. I don't like playing Arlo, but Arlo nice gap over a red bar reverses all of yesterday. So, if I were if this was a month and a half from now or, sometime late September, I'd play Arlo because it'd be the best thing I've got. Results down versus expectation. Yeah, I don't know how to predict that. I mean, if you're really good at analyzing and you know something about it and you know the inside story and the inside assumptions, maybe you can do something with that. But that's hard because there's an expectation, but then there's a street expectation and there's an insider expectation, and what's the real expectation? And to me, the only thing that's real is the price, and the price produces the pattern, and the pattern's what matters to me. I mean, that's technical trading. I've known people who come from the industry with some amazing analysis skills that can apply fundamentals with technicals and have some good success. But I don't know how you read it. We've had a lot of that in the last few weeks where the reports have been bad, yet the stock rallies and vice versa. Report like Intel had good report, right? I thought it had good report, and look, another sell setup now. This is still going lower. That's a nice daily short, by the way, Intel. Triggered a little earlier today. So I don't pay much attention to it. I'm always playing the thing that had the good or the bad earnings, but I don't play it for that reason. I play it for the pattern that it produces. And the lead up to the earnings is what's critical to me. Like with WDC, the daily chart. WDC was near the top of a range. 3, 4 bars up, red bar yesterday, not surprising the day before earnings, but today cracked the whole base on the gap. That's big. What that does is everyone who's bought that in the last few weeks, right? Every trader that uses pivots anyway, who isn't in it for the extreme long term, is stopped out this morning, right? Because we're under these 4 or 5 pivots here. So, as a technical trader, we know that because this 2 months of traders are all stopped out today, they have to get out. That's going to drive the price down. It's really as simple as that. And Sono was the similar thing. Sono, it wasn't 2 months though, it was just a week. But this thing was right bearing on new highs yesterday. This got bought into earnings. The assumption was earnings were going to be good. Now, maybe they were, but for whatever reason, it got sold. Now, once it breaks that pivot there, it's now under the 20 MA. The last week of trading, and really the week before here, they're all stopped out too now, right? At least that's how I view it. I'm not necessarily right, but that's how I approach it. Didn't work so well with M-chip yesterday. M-chip was just like Sono today, but really didn't fall much. I think it still falls, but for some reason it's been hanging up there. Most of us who trade here look at it similar to that. That's why a lot of us like INFN. That's a very nice gap. Breakout. I mean, the only problem if there is with INFM is it's already up one huge breakout from mid-July, right? And then it consolidates for 2 weeks. But yesterday, in front of earnings, it was sold. So the anticipation was a little bit of fear yesterday. So it's only a 1 day bar, really, with the base. But the assumption here is shouldn't have gotten out, need to be in this. That's what drives that price up. Now, it's not as perfect as some of these other ones were, but when you get a red bar right before earnings and then the day of you clear it, means everybody the last few days has been wrong, all the sellers. Now, this is better if it's at new lows. So it's just really a 1 day bar. I don't know how far it actually goes, but made it to 9.25. That's why I'm thinking it's possible to get to 10. It's not that big of a stretch, but that's all assumption. All right, WDC holding. BHC. You've been watching that today, Tom. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty bullish too. The only thing about this one is that 200 MA often acts as a wall. The flatter, the more so. Yeah, VWAP's always a good front target on something like that, right? But I mean, the reason I wasn't gung ho on this morning as a long was because it gapped right into the flat 200, almost flat 200 daily MA. Works on a 15-minute chart too, intraday, if you watch it. Gap too high, yeah. It did run a little bit at the open, but it's hard to say it wasn't that 200 MA that stopped it, even though it went through it a little bit. And yeah, I can see the morning VWAP. It did go through it in the pre-market about 7 o'clock this morning, but since then it's held the VWAP. It can't get over it. All right, well, if you guys want to talk about, strategy, I kind of got away from it. I used to do it a lot, 11:30 in the morning. I kind of got away from it because most of the people here are my old friends, and we all know what we know. But if some of you are a little newer from MLT or whatever, you want to talk about it, I can do some play reviews or go over, what I think about strategy. This is, the good time to do that. 11:30 when I come back from break. And after I have a chance to scan, I'm happy to do that. Just ask a question or two, or and don't mind sharing some tactical stuff. Oh yeah, Facebook. Look at that. Yeah, having a good day. I hadn't looked at it either. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, there's no one strategy that's it. And as long as you're having success with something, I wouldn't knock it. All right, well, I'll try to, I'll try to do what I just did, and review what I do, when 11:30 range. I don't like to do it when the market's rocking. I want to be looking for plays, but I got a couple of plays brewing. How did Apple do? Yeah, Apple made a nice 15-minute pivot. Big stop, but made a pretty good pivot. Kodak long. Yeah, it does. Yeah, nice daily. So you can get back to 60? No way, says me, but could get to 30. Yeah, I remember you called the short. All right, WDC may get a 15-minute entry now. This would be better than the breakdown if we get it. But I'm stalking a 15-minute sell now on a WDC. I want it to hang under VWAP though, so if it gets in, it gets over 37.50, I'm going to be less interested. And 9FM doing fine. Just got to hang up here. Sono also setting up on the 15. The difference is Sono hit the target. WDC still has, it hit a little demand area, but it's still got plenty of target to major support. So get your mic working, Evan. I'll enable your sound. You're enabled now, but no work. It's not that hard. It's just a microphone. Can't get your mic or old videos. Your old videos is probably a file format issue. Download like that VLC thing. That'll play anything. Is it VLC or VCL? It's one of those. There's a video player, public domain that plays like every kind of video ever made. But the mic is just your Windows control. If you have some kid in the neighborhood, just ask them if they'll do it. GWPH. Yeah, that thing is low volume though. Wow. That's a tough one to guess direction though. I mean, daily, hourly all look higher. Weekly is a tougher call. Yeah, no, definitely big jumps happen after earnings. That's what I play. I mean, I wait for the earnings. I don't anticipate, although I know several who do. Some quite successful at it. But I wait for the call and then play the reaction on the ones that I think I know where they're going, like WDC and Sono. And BMY is pretty good here. It needs another entry, but BMY pulled in, held support. Now back at the VWAP, so not a good entry point right here. But see the nice breakout on the gap, the pullback holds support. The aggressive play was 94 by 42. But now if we get a secondary entry, BMY could be good. And that looks a lot like looked a lot yesterday like GWPH does today. WDC? Yep. Yeah, the bar under 11 isn't complete yet. We need another 6 minutes. But we're in the area. SDX has a decent sell setup too. All right, really like this area that WDC's in. ADTX. ADTX. I don't have that. ADT, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not my play. That thing's in an uptrend. So you're talking about on the failure, the buy setup failure, like the market's trying to do. Yeah, you've been hitting them. Can't argue with that. I tried to do one of your fades the other day. I didn't have it available. Well, Hubs, MAXR, and CTL all look higher. Market, I don't know. Market possibly putting in a lower high, so not a bad place to short something really weak. Sono setting up. Wish it had more target. Sono, nice looking short right here. All right, well, if WDC looked like Sono, I'd be doing it. I don't know, I haven't heard from RM. He's either away or he was here Tuesday, and then I didn't hear from him yesterday, and he hadn't been here today either. So I don't know. I haven't called him. I will next week if he's still not around, but hope there's no problem. Well, as long as WDC can pivot and set an entry, I'm still fine with it. But right now, the 5 minute looks like it wants, like you say, to break higher. I'd like to get that out of the way. 15 minutes still fine. You know, as long as we have a neat, orderly rally on the 15 that can pivot, I still like it. And we're actually still below the pre-market VWAP, which is showing about 37.53. Covered out, yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting to see if there's a new entry. I never got in, but sure do like Sono. Sono's got a trigger right here, 80 by 97. I mean, it's 2.5 hour to low a day. But I don't think it goes lower than low a day. Where WDC, I think could totally crash. But right now it's not. My opinion is unless you're a real pro at it, like you watch it constantly and know it, it doesn't offer much value. I tried it years and years ago. Of course, I know a lot more now, and I didn't see much there. But um, you know, if you're stalking the bid offer and most of them are hidden orders anyway. I mean, you know, you can see the orders like you see what you see, but as soon as you go to do something based on it, they disappear or reappear somewhere else. So there's a lot of algorithms in those level threes and twos, and to me, it's just not my strategy. Um, it, I think they're valuable if if that's what you do, but it's not what I do. The only time I'm looking at the level two really is when I'm stalking some sort of breakout and and I note the amount, the sizes. But I think most of level two and the bid and offer is not real. Hey, DDD fell really nicely. Huh. That 15 minute really worked. Look at that. Yeah, 5 minute too. DDD was a nice play. Yeah, right. If it's useful, use it. You know, it's the same thing I tell anybody when they ask me, should I buy a scanner, you know, and pay a subscription fee for one of these scanners. I'm always the same. It's like if you get benefit from it, sure, but make sure you're getting benefit from it. Otherwise, it's just a drain. Yeah, time and sales is real. I mean, I think it's real. I'm not even so sure about that anymore, but I've never seen it proved not to be real. But I can show you, I'm sure it happens to all of us when, you see a bid offer and you go in on the bid to buy and it bumps up a penny. So you bump yours up a penny and then it bumps up another penny and then you bump yours up and then it bumps up. I mean, that's an algorithm doing that. That's not somebody sitting there watching it. That's somebody saying, I want to be on the bid. And if anybody else gets on the bid, bump up. Color code your time and sales, yeah. Right. Well, the bid and ask are all right, just flying around. But the actual prints, the actual buys and sells, I believe to be real. Above ask, yellow is below the bid, at the bid, and then under the bid. Okay. Yeah, that's helpful to know. Like if everything's going off at the bid, you know that thing's in demand. Yeah, right. Particularly in the first half hour or so. All right, I'm not going to wait for WDC anymore. It's still maybe good on a 15 minute, but I'd like to see it do something else now. Sono's still good if anybody wants it. I'm not going to do it. Um, and didn't really focus on DDD, but it sure worked. All right, I think I'm going to go to lunch or at least get on the treadmill. Yeah, right. Buying below the bid is great. Hard to do in a quick moving market, but that is the way to do it. Yeah, I'm going to change my platform soon. I'm platform shopping again, and I'm really going to do it this time. It might kill me, but I'm going to do it. And then once I get a new platform, I might mess with that. I remember the last time I changed platforms, I threw it out in an hour. Just couldn't deal. I use E-Trade. Yeah, I have a couple E-Trade accounts, but they're just for long-term stuff. I've never used it to day trade. Can you short? I mean, I've always I have a Schwab account too, but they never have any short availability. Can't short every, yeah, yeah. And right, and I never even call. I mean, I have, you know, I think it's the clearing that not necessarily the broker, but who they use to clear that has the short availability. But get a lot of selection, and I'd like to keep that. Probably a Canadian broker. Well, I'm shopping. And like I say, I have two E-Trade accounts and a Schwab account and a TradeStation account, and I may just use one of those. But none of them are specified for day trading right now. All right. Well, WDC can still set up, and Sono triggered and starting to fall. All right, I'm gonna call lunch. I have a good routine going. If I finish, trading by 11:30, quarter to noon, which I usually do, I've been able to get into my little gym for like 40 minutes and then still have time to eat lunch before I can't stand it anymore. And I actually do it. I get into the gym. COLMEX. I'll write that down. Do you recommend it? Well, I guess so. You're talking about it. I'm always afraid to put, any real money in an overseas broker. But a lot of people use them. Yeah, well, if they pay you out monthly, that's good. Yeah, I know the U.S. has all kinds of crazy restrictions on that. It's the silliest thing ever. Can open a futures account with $1,000 and trade your way anywhere. But if you want to trade stocks, nope, you can't do that anywhere. And all right, well, thanks for the name. She just posted it. Oh wait, oh Ralph. Oh, you're asking Ralph. Yeah, there was a there was an old broker where a lot of people lost money. All right, I'll check back in the afternoon, but I think I'm done for the morning unless I just look in and something looks great. The WDC may set here. I'm gonna check it in 5-10 minutes and see what it looks like. It was. Were you around ring it in the team trading days or the VCM days? That's what it was. And there's a million backstories to it, so it's hard to know the real cause effect of any of it, but it didn't matter to many because a lot of them lost a lot of money. I'm not sure anybody can hear me, but I just had a brownout that